So again, I am starting. Now, as I told you about the function testing, so in this case, we divide our problem, our software into number of functions, and after dividing into number of functions, so we test at each level. So first is called the at unit level or the component level, and after that, it is called the module level, and above that, we can call it as the subsystem, and at the end system level. So the testing is required at each level. So we start from the function testing. So function testing, as here we are going to suggest the name black box, because we are not going to check it internally for what the programmer designed the function. Here just we are aware only the input and output. So this is called the black box testing. Okay. So here the testing engineer just provides some input and check whether he is able to get the proper output or not. So the function is working properly or not. So in this way, we can say it exercise to its external specification. Okay. So we are not bothering about the internal specification, how the function is working. Just we are going to test about the input and output. Okay. And here we can say the testers not biased by knowledge of the program design. Okay. So here we are not checking the programmer what type of methods they are using to design the program. Just the tester, or we can say the testing engineers, checking a number of functions whether they are working properly or not. So still there are few some disadvantages here. The first is the need for explicitly stated requirement. Okay, so here we will use some different type of requirements if we are going to use the black box testing. Another is the only cover a small portion of the possible test condition. So whenever we are using the black box testing or we are testing at the function level, so it covers only the small portion. Okay, because we are just checking at the unit or the component level. So it will cover only the small portion of the possible test condition. Okay, at the function level only. Or whenever if we will involve a number of more functions or the components, then the testing condition will be different. Okay, it will change because it is here, it will cover only the small part. Regression testing, what is the regression testing? Suppose whenever we are going to update our design. So sometimes at the end, there is a need arise to add some more functions as per the requirement of the user. Then there is a need to change overall system. Okay, so we change the program at the component level or the unit level, or we need some add more number of functions. So whenever we are going to check our system overall, okay, so first here we will use the regression testing. So regression testing means just we are going to add or delete some functions, and after that we will check the overall system functions. Okay, so it tests the effects of the newly introduced changes on all the previously integrated code, because we have already designed, or we can say the integrated code, and after that just we are changing little bit. Okay, or sometimes there is a need to delete some functions which are not required. Okay, and for the simplicity or for maintaining the quality of the software, the designer includes some more functions. So that's why we can say we use the regression testing. The common strategy is to accumulate a comprehensive regression bucket, but also to define a subset. So here we will use a number of subsets, means we can include more number of functions, or sometimes we can exclude one or more functions. Okay, then we use, or we can say Here again, we will use some strategy to accumulate a comprehensive regression bucket. Means just we are going to add more functions, or we are going to exclude some less number of functions. Okay, so here we are using a new word bucket. The full bucket is run only occasionally, but the subset is run against every spin. Suppose we are going to add one or two functions, then again we will check or execute our program or test our program. Okay, whether the functions which are added by the programmer, so it is working or not. Okay, so again, regression testing has some disadvantage to decide how much of a subset to use and which test to select. Now, in this case, again, we will select some test to check the overall working of the system. Now, first we will plan for the test. So what is the test planning? So for the test planning, we will define some functions, roles and methods for all test phases. Okay, because we have a number of phases and we defined the about the functions, role and methods. What type of methods we are using? What are the roles of different characters there, and how we are going to define number of functions. So this is called the test planning. So during test planning here, test planning usually start during the requirement phase. Okay. So at the primary level, first we will check the what is the requirement. Okay. And major test plan elements are objectives for each test phase. So here first we will check what are the different objectives for each test phase, because there are number of phases for the test also, like we can say the design phase. Okay, during the design phase, again it is divided into number of phases. So similarly in this case also, whenever we are testing our software, then again there are number of phases. Why we are going to divide into number of phases? To manage easily. Okay, suppose we want to manage our software easily, or we can say that we can test each part in a very simple manner. So, objectives for each test phase, schedules and responsibilities for each test activity, availability of tools. So, whether the tools are available or facilities are there or not, or there are some test libraries or not. Okay, so there are some plan elements. So these are called the test plan elements. So set the criteria for test completion, how we are going to complete the test. Okay, so we will use some criteria. So test execution and reporting. Now in this case, testing should be treated like an experiment. So here after completion of the designing phase, we will treat testing as an experiment here. So again, we are going to execute and to report. Okay, so testing requires that all anomalous behavior be noted and investigated. Means if it has some problem, okay, the behavior is different. We are not getting the proper output. Okay, after applying the input. So it means anomalous behavior. Okay, so first we will investigate the anomalous behavior, and then we can note it down there. So big companies keep a special library. Then big companies have some special library with all copies of test reports. So we must maintain the records of the test reports, incident forms, and test plans. Okay, so we must maintain all such type of records. Now, real-time testing, what is this? Real-time testing is necessary because the deployment of system is usually more complicated than the development system. So suppose after completion of the design phase, we will do the testing and before launching of the system. Okay. So whenever we are going to deploy our system, then we can say it is more complicated phase. Otherwise, we can say it is not opted by any other company. Okay, so real time testing means before deployment, just you are going to test all the activities or at unit or component level whether it is working properly or not. Okay, rules apply for testing real time system. So there are number of rules. Now you can see here, evaluate possible deadlocks. Okay, deadlocks, you are already aware the word. Okay, if it has the complications or some hanging positions are coming in your software or some sort of thrashing problems, okay, to a special timing condition, then we must evaluate all those deadlock or thrashing conditions. Okay, use test to simulate hardware faults. So it may also have some hardware faults. Suppose you are going to install your software and the hardware is not supporting. So it is also must here we can say that we will also check the hardware. Okay, so whether the hardware for your software it is compatible or not. So use test to simulate the hardware faults. Use hardware simulation to stress the software design. So again here we will simulate the hardware design based to simulate modules missing in the development system. So this is called the real-time testing. So again, we will concentrate over the hardware also. So whether it has some faults or not, okay, whether it is compatible or not. And then we can check our software if it is fulfilling the primary condition of the hardware. Then after that, we can run our software and check at each level. Now there are some applications of the software testing. So first application, cost effective development. Okay. So whenever we are going to develop any software, then it must be cost effective. First, we will concentrate over this. This is very important. Okay. Whenever we are going to develop any product, then we always emphasize over the cost effectiveness. So whether the product or whatever we are going to develop, it is cost effective or not. Okay. So product improvement. So again, here we can improve the product that we must maintain the quality. So first is the cost effective nature of the product and another is the quality. Okay, so product improvement, just you are going to maintain the quality here. You are again and again improving the product. It means you are enhancing the quality, improving the quality. Test automation. So another application of the software testing is the test automation. So again and again, whenever you are improving the quality of the product, then you will test the product many times. Okay. So fourth one is the quality check. So here finally again we will check the quality. So these are called the application of the software testing. So whenever we are going to test the software, then we must concentrate over such type of application. Now properties of the software. Your software that is designed by you must have such type of properties or we can say the characteristics. So first is called the functionality. Second is the reliability. Third, usability, efficiency, maintainability, portability. Okay. Functional here functionality, whether it is working properly or not, each function working properly or not. Reliability means just you are going to check about the failure. Okay. So the software which is designed by you or the programmer, it is working properly or it is reliable. Okay. Fault free. So third one is the usability, so that you can use your software again and again. Okay. Suppose if there is a need to enhance the software or you want improvement, then you can use the same software and you can add some more functions. Okay. Then we can maintain the usability also. Efficiency, it must have good speed. Okay. More efficient. Another here property is the maintainability, to maintain your software, how you are going to maintain that. Portability, that you can use on each system after changing a little bit. Okay. Now just I am taking only the attendance of 4 students here. 3 students only. Today there was more disturbance. So these are called the properties of the software. Okay, so functionality, reliability, usability, efficiency, maintainability, portability. So these are called the characteristics of the software. Now the time is going to finish. So what is the testing? Here testing is the process of evaluating a system or its component with the intent to find whether it satisfies